Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to the class, and we were doing interpretation of statutes. So let's continue with the interpretation of statutes. And before we proceed, let's quickly recall whatever we have studied. Okay, I hope you guys are doing good. So we studied first with external aids of interpretation. Okay, that's the definition. That means you are going beyond the books. So external aid means consideration of the statute of affairs behind the enactment of the act, the reasons why the act was framed. So the first thing is you are referring to the historical setting. Number 2, changes in social and technology. Number 3, reference to the other act. Number 4, dictionary definition. Number 5, judicial pronouncement. Dictionary definition is a specific, altogether different question. Okay. Now in judicial pronouncement you will first follow Indian laws. Okay. First reference should always be given to Indian laws, and then you will go with foreign decisions. Then point number 2 here was RTP. Then question number 3 was rule of literal construction, that is called as grammatical construction. So it is the first rule of interpretation. It is used when the words in the statute are clear, language is plain, and there is nothing unambiguous. Okay. If the word has an ordinary meaning, you follow ordinary meaning. If the word has technical meaning, you follow technical meaning. Okay. Now then non-applicability, do the opposite if it is ambiguous. If the literal sense gives us what? Unintelligible, absurd or unreasonable result, and if the literal sense would defeat the purpose of the act, then you will not follow this rule. Okay. Reasonable is pending, we do it later on. Number 4, rule of beneficial construction, purposive construction, hidden rules or mischief rule. So when an old act was there and that has been replaced by the new act, so what was the problem in the old act? What is the new act giving the benefit? It is called as what? Rule of beneficial construction. Okay. Or purposive construction or hidden rules or mischief rule. 3 points are there. Then rule of harmonious construction. There is a fight between in the same section or two sections of a same act, or one section of one act and second section of another act. Then you follow rule of harmonious construction. That's number 1. Number 2 point, you follow these steps. First, you give the effect to the conflicting provision. If it is not possible to give full effect, you give part effect, and partial effect must be given. If general and specific interpretation is there, you will follow more general interpretation. Okay. Then if it is impossible, then you will follow this rule. Sir, if there is an overriding provision, then first one will prevail. If it is a subjective provision, second one will prevail. Okay. Now if there is no overriding, no subjective, then later the better will prevail. Okay. If they're on the same date, then whatever was written in the latest part, it will prevail. Then question number 6, with the notwithstanding anything to the contrary, the first one will prevail. Number 2, subject to, then first one will prevail, in notwithstanding anything to the contrary, second one will prevail. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary, whatever was written there, it was written there, this one will prevail. In subject to, first one will prevail, subject to the second conditions. Okay. Then without prejudice, and without affecting. Whatever was written there, okay, it is written there, you will follow that also, but this also you will follow. That means both will prevail. Notwithstanding may, forget that, follow this. Subject to may, first will follow, subject to second. Without prejudice means without affecting. Then rule of exceptional construction, and, or, and. What will follow? And, or, and. Read and as, or as, and. Then may has a directory force. Shall, your must, has a mandatory force. Okay. May shall be read as shall be read as may. Then mandatory and directory provision. It's a strict compliance, it's a substantial compliance. If it is not followed, mandatory is not followed, the act is invalid. If it is not followed, the act is still valid. Okay. This is question number 9. Now question number 10. This is adjus de generis. What it is, guys? Adjus de generis. Adjus de generis. People who understand Hindi, adjus de generis. Okay. Now, sir, it means what? Same class or same species. Adjus de generis means what? Same class or same species. Like for example, this rule of ICI, this rule of ICI is applicable to all students. Now all students include what? Male also, female also, foundation also, inter also, final also. Okay. So it is applicable to that whole category. Okay. Now, for example, it is applicable to that entire category. That is called adjus de generis. Now all the assessees must pay tax. Now when I say all the assessees, all assessees are covered here. Male assessee, female assessee, all heads of income are covered here. Everything is covered. It is called what? Adjus de generis. Now write this as first as meaning. The term adjus de means same class or same species. The meaning of the general word shall be restricted. The general word shall be constituted with reference to specific words. You just have to remember this much. It means same class or species. Underline that. That can come in MCQ also. Number 2. Conditions. There must be an interpretation of certain specific words like enumeration, like collection of some specific words. It must constitute a class or category. Like for example, this rule is applicable for all animals. All animals are covered. Yeah, this rule is applicable for animals. All was not written. So it is understood. This rule is applicable to students. All students, because the entire category will be covered. The specific must not words must not exhaust the whole category. The general words must follow what? The specific words. Now, there is nothing to show that a wider sense was intended. So what you will say was for adjus de generis, if it is applicable to, if one word is given, it is applicable to same class or same species of the people. Number 3, non-applicable. When it will not be applicable, sir? When the court says it is not applicable, it is not applicable. The court has a discretion to apply or not to apply this rule, and the rule must be applied with a caution because it implies a departure from the natural meaning of the words. Like for example, natural meaning means all students. So all students, all categories of students, all students. Now it includes CA also, CS also, CMA also, UPSC also, everything. But here when we are saying this rule, we say sir, students with regards to CA course we are talking about. So you have to interpret with CA course, all students with respect to CA course. Okay. So it should be applied with caution. The 3 points are there. First, the meaning means what? Same class or same species. Sir, condition, it must be there must be enumeration of certain specific words. It must constitute a class or a category. Number 3, non-applicability. So the court has a discretion to apply or not to apply. Number 2, and it should be applied with caution because it implies a departure from the natural meaning of the words. So this is question number 10, adjus de generis. Generic, that means applicable to all category. Okay, read. 3 points are there. Understood? Adjus de generis, like same class or species. Okay. Now the exactly opposite is this one. 11th. It's very nice, huh? It's my favorite. Expresso unis est excluso alterius. I have not abused you, okay? Neither in Kannada nor in English, okay? It is expresso unis est exclusio alterius. Expresso unis est exclusio alterius. It means if one thing is written, that means it excludes the other things. It is express mention of one thing and excludes the other. That means if I say this rule is applicable to boys, girls are excluded. If I say this rule is applicable to domestic animals, wild animals is excluded. This rules is applicable only to the people having income from salaries, then other heads are excluded. So that means specific mention of one thing exclude the others. Expressive mention of something exclude the others. So it says if two or more things belong to a particular class are mentioned, other members of the class are silently excluded. Non-applicable when the words have clear meaning, like for example it says it is applicable to boys and girls, so this rule will not be applicable. This rule is applicable to all the sasses having all the kinds of income, then this rule is not applicable. And where the exclusion is accidental. So very simple, if one thing is included, other thing is excluded. This rule is called as what? Expressio unis est exclusio alterius. Spelling is very tough. Expressio unis, that is specific mention of one thing, exclude others, exclusio alterius. Okay, read 11th. The next one is nocitere soci. Nocitere soci. Again, I am not abusing you, okay? Neither in English nor in Karnataka, Kannada nor in Hindi. No language I am abusing, okay? These are the words. Nocitere soci. What it says? Nocitere soci. It is basically group of the words. Like for example, the example which we are carrying, like bridge the gap between rich and poor. So now what will happen? The word bridge is this bridge, flyover highway. Okay, so bridge the gap between rich and poor. Now you will understand that bridge will take the meaning of rich and poor, means that they are reducing the gap. Okay, we will like to construct a bridge. Construct a bridge, that means bridge will take construction ka meaning, like connected meaning. It is like a chameleon, okay. It takes the color of the words which is used with it. Okay, it is called as what? Nocitere soci. If two or more words are capable of analogous, that is similar parallel meaning, are grouped together, they should be understood in a cognate sense. That is, they take the color from each other and are given a similar or related meaning, like bridge the gap between. Okay, so you take that particular meaning. Then a word shall be given the same meaning throughout the act. Like for example, here they have given an exception like plant. Okay, plant. So when I say plant and machinery, so it's a plant like the machine. Plant and trees, so that is that saplings, plant and trees. So when the words are used in a different context, the word plant should be given a different meaning when construing the term plant and machinery and the term plant and trees. Where it would cause injustice or absurdity, then you will not use this rule. And whereas statutes define a term, like if they have defined the word bridge or if they define the word plant, you will follow that, then this rule is not applicable. Generally, it will take the color of the meaning, the words which are used with it. But the few words like plant and trees, plant and machinery. Plant basically means sapling. So when I say plant and trees, that's sapling. Plant and machinery, that plant means not that sapling, that's plant and machinery. This is called as what? Nocitare soci, associated words. Construction of grouped words, associated, nocitare soci. So guys, ejus de generis was same class or species. Expressio unis est exclusio alterius, that means if one thing is included, the other thing is excluded. Nocitare soci, it means it will take the color of the associated words. This is 12th. Read 12th, very simple it is. Now, 13th answer. So all those direct questions you have to learn directly, no pointers in it. Okay. Now this is contemporanea exposito. Contemporanea exposito. Now, contemporanea exposito means, like for example, if you are reading an act, like if you read Indian Partnership Act 1932. Okay. If you remember that set off, like if the partnership firm is not registered, they are allowed for set off? No sir, because they are unregistered. But yeah, exception is that they will be given a set off of what? 100 rupees. 100 rupees. Now if you are reading the same act here today in 2023, so for us 100 rupee will be like, sir, 100 rupee only? Yeah, you have to remember 100 rupee only. You need to realize the fact that at that time in 1932 when the act was made, at that time 100 rupee was very big amount. So when you are reading a law, You always think that, sir, when the law was made at that time, what was the situation? So you relate with that past life. It is called what? Contemporanea exposito. What it is? Contemporanea exposito. Now, this rule is applicable only. This is the first point. When the statute is an old statute, then the statute is an old statute. The language of the statute is ambiguous. It is different. Okay. Number 2. Interpret a statute by paying due regard to the interpretation that the language of the act has received over a long period of time, because 100 rupees is going on till now, and the much weight should be given to the interpretation adopted by the department whose duty was to construe and implement the said act. So you will follow whatever was followed since long, you will follow that only. Now, number 3. Interpretation accepted and acted upon for a long time should not be altered. Whatever has been followed from past 20-30 years will follow the same thing. You will not change it. You will not change it. The court may depart from the well accepted meaning if there is a compelling reason to do so. If court wants, they can depart. I mean, they can say we will not follow this rule. Now, 4th, old statute should be interpreted as it would have been when it was enacted or written, like 1932 Act, 100 rupees. So at that time it was written. 5th, this rule cannot be applied for new laws, because new laws you will not follow this rule. Contemporary exposito is basically for the old acts. So whenever you read a law, you take the time consideration of the old act. This rule is called what? Contemporary exposito. So guys, these are certain rules of interpretation. One more is pending. Okay, read 13. So contemporary exposito is what? When you are reading an old act and the language is ambiguous. So whatever in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, whatever the interpretation was there and used, you will follow that interpretation only. You will not change the interpretation. Court want, they can change on case to case basis. This rule is not applicable while interpreting a new statute. Okay, read contemporary exposito. Understood contemporary and exposito? When you are reading an old act, you consider the old situation when the law was made. It is called what? Contemporary and exposito. Now, there is one more rule, rule of reasonable construction. Come to page number 104. This is rule number, question number 14. Rule of reasonable construction, page number 104. Sir, when the literal meaning fails, you will follow what? Reasonable rule. Like we say, Nacha, we are not understanding by the exact meaning. We follow like similar meaning of that particular sentence. Okay. So it says applicability when the ordinary meaning is absurd and the literal meaning fails to achieve the purpose. So we follow this rule. Cancel this. Number 2. Non-applicability. If the ordinary meaning is clear, you will follow ordinary meaning. If reasonable results in any absurdity, injustice, unintelligible interpretation, so will not follow. You can use any of the non-applicability points, whatever we have studied. If the intention of the law cannot be gathered precisely, you will not use this rule. It is called non-applicability. Third, sir, what are the methods? Sir, number 1, examine whether the statute is a clear or vague. Look at the statute as a whole. Statute means the law. Discover the exact meaning of the relevant provision. If literal meaning fails, what will you follow? You will follow what? This particular provision. That is called as rule of reasonable construction. So analyze if the provision can be changed or applied as it is. Achha, determine whether current issue is adequately resolved by the clear words. If it is not, you will follow this rule. When the words of the statute are clear and resolve the current situation, if yes, there is no need to go further, you will follow this. If no, consider the intention of the law and modify the meaning of the words. If you can read, if you are reading a law and you can understand the word, you follow rule of literal construction. Sir, if I am reading the law, I am unable to interpret it. So I will follow beneficial construction. And when I will follow reasonable construction. The time I follow reasonable construction, I will again read the law. And now if I am able to understand the meaning, then I can modify the meaning of the words. I can modify the meaning of the words. It is called what? Rule of reasonable construction. This is the second rule. First you follow literal, then you follow reasonable. If literal meaning fails, then reasonable is followed. Like bridge the gap between rich and poor, bridge. So bridge, you are taking reasonable interpretation. It is called as rule of reasonable construction. So 3 points are there: applicability, non-applicability if it is clear, ordinary meaning is clear if it is absurd, injustice, or if the intention of law cannot be gathered precisely. Third, rule of, and you follow steps. Steps also you have to remember. Okay, this is 14th question, rule of reasonable construction. Read this, guys. Done? Now come to internal rules of interpretation. Now here we'll have different rule. Now first is question number 15, title. Now what we are doing, we are in the book now. Okay, in the book it's a bare act, companies act, income tax, any act. Now you are interpreting the rule from the book. Beta page number is 112. External we have done like parliamentary history, changes in social and technology, then reference to the other act, dictionary meaning and foreign decision. This is what internal aids of interpretation. So it says first one is what? Title. I mean the question number 15 is title. So if I read Companies Act 2013, it's a full title. CA, 2013, short title. With CA 2013 can I interpret the law? Tell me. With CA 2013 can I interpret the law? No sir, no. It could be such chartered accountants also. It could be some cost accountant also. Anything could you interpret, right? So you always have to refer long title. So short title cannot be used for interpreting a statute. Long title may be used to resolve any ambiguity. So to ascertain the object and the scope of the act, you have to go and read the long title. So I read the title. 16th, preamble. I turned the page, I saw the preamble. Preamble means the object of the act. Object, okay. So the words are clear, preamble cannot be used. Preamble will give you a rough idea like what act is there. Like it will be written there. Companies Act may the object of the company, I mean the object of this act is to form, register and incorporate and the matters about the company. In Partnership Act, it covers the matters related to partnership. Okay, all these things would be written there. So if the words are clear, preamble cannot be used. Preamble may be used to resolve any ambiguity and it cannot qualify or restrict the clear meaning of the act. For act interpretation, you have to go inside, you have to read the entire act. Okay, this is 16. 15, 16. Headings and title of chapter, it's only for the MCQ, it's not a question. Headings, like when you open, like we have studied, right? Dividend is a heading. So it covers all the matters regarding to dividend. Okay, when we spoke about auditors, so auditors. So in the Companies Act, dividend was there, it is a chapter. Auditors was there. Shares, it covers all the matters regarding shares. Okay, can I interpret the entire law through that? No. You use the chapter headings and the title of the chapter only for interpreting that particular chapter. So whenever there's a big act, small chapters are made in that. Like for example, Income Tax Act is there. So there's a chapter called income from salaries, income from business and profession, income from capital gains, that way. One heading may be referred to whether or not there's an ambiguity in a provision. If the words are clear, heading cannot be used. Heading cannot be used. Heading cannot qualify or restrict the clear meaning of that. Heading to one group of section cannot be used to interpret the other group of section. Like for example, if I say I am studying dividend. Now in dividend, there's a heading called as sources. So I can use this. This is my title of the chapter. This is my title of the chapter, whatever I marked with blue. Now whatever I marked with green, this is my heading. So I can use the heading only to understand the content of that heading. I can't use it for the entire chapter. Okay, like then there's a heading called as payment of dividend. Okay, payment of dividend. So payment of dividend is a heading. I can use it only to understand that particular concept. This is called as heading and title of the chapter, only for MCQ. Okay, so read 15, 16 and this point number 3, that is for MCQ. Read title, preamble and headings and title of the chapter. Read this. Now 17th question. This is marginal notes. Now sir, what is marginal notes? Now for example, if you are reading a law, okay, and if you see a bare act, they have put some important instruction towards the end. If you open a bare act, I'll open one bare act so you'll understand. Now see, title, okay, long title. Then this are chapter name, preliminary, incorporation of a company, formation of company, memorandum articles. These are headings, okay, headings. Now see this, like this line. The words of 1 lakh rupees or higher paid up share capital omitted by 21 of 2015. So this is basically an extra information. This is called as what? Marginal notes. This is called as what? Marginal notes. This is called as what? Marginal notes. Like here, the words of 5 lakhs or such higher amount omitted by 21 2015. This is marginal notes. Like if some extra instruction, some point the act has to say, it will put a star. Like we make in notes, right? We put a star, take it on the terrace or on the basement. Same. This is called as what? Marginal notes. This is called as what? Marginal notes. Marginal notes may be used to resolve any ambiguity. It cannot override the clear meaning of the act. Whatever is the meaning, you will follow that. It is just for it is used only for understanding the different pointers. It cannot be referred for the purpose of understanding the entire act. It is only for that particular pointer. Okay. 17. Now 18. Definitional section. This we have studied in general clauses also. Okay, if you remember, means and includes, exhaustive, restrictive, inclusive or restrictive. If you remember all that point, same point it is. Okay. Now statutory definition can be used as an interpretation whether or not the words in the statute are ambiguous. So whatever definitions are given in the act, like the definition of the Companies Act, definition of the Partnership Act, whatever definition in the section number 2 basically, right? 2A, B, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and the list they have given. It is you have to follow that definition. Okay. Now from here you will read this. You can write there RTB. Then exhaustive definition. If exhaustive definition is given for a term, the meaning of such definition must be restricted. Okay. You have to follow that only. So use of the word means and include imply that the definition is exhaustive. Means and include. Means and include means what? It is exhaustive. It is exhaustive. Means and includes is exhaustive. Then you will follow that only. If inclusive definition is given the term, an extended meaning can be used. Like you can go beyond. It is called as include. Such a word can also include something else in the addition to the definition given to that. Use of the word include is deemed to include and to apply other things also. It is inclusive. I inclusive. Me means exhaustive. I include inclusive. That is, it is a broader term. Okay. Means what? It is exhaustive definition. You have to follow that only. Means and includes is exhaustive. Include is, it is basically that other things are also included. Now the next definition says unless the context otherwise require. Like this is the definition, but if the law want to interpret something else, you interpret something else. It is unless the context otherwise required. Like if you are reading a definition and it says unless the context otherwise required, we are saying this is a definition. But in life, if you want to follow some other definition, some other interview, you can follow that. Also, it is called what? Unless the context otherwise required. Mad people, na? If you want to follow this definition, write this definition. If it is other, we will follow other. So this is the meaning of unless the context otherwise required. Now the effect of the word is that the court may deviate from the meaning given in the definition if such meaning causes any absurdity. Even where these words are not used in the definition clause, the court may assume, may assume that such words are implicit in the definition. Okay. This is unless the context otherwise require. So you have to read the entire answer of 18. Finished? Great. Now, question number 19. This is basically your illustrations. So, sir, what is illustrations? Illustrations are basically your examples. Illustrations are basically your examples. Like Companies Act, I think they have not given an example. Like Income Tax Act, if you open the barrack, they have given some example that is called as illustration. They do not give any addition or subtracted points. They are just to understand the main provision. This is important. It has come in the exam a lot of times. This is important. Illustrations are considered in constructing a statute. Illustrations are used to clarify the application of the provisions of statute. It is neither a curtail, like it does not reduces. I said it, not subtracted, not added. It not expand the ambit of the section. It does not give any additional points or reduce any points. Illustration cannot modify the language of the section. If there is a conflict between the section and illustration, which will win? The section will win. The section will prevail. MCQ. Conflict between what? Section illustrations, or what will prevail? Section will prevail. Section will prevail. This is called as illustration. Now, 20. This is what? Proviso. Exception. Whatever the provisions are there, something is not covered there, it gives us a proviso. Like proviso to, like deductions we say. Income is there, whatever you want to minus or deduction is a proviso basically. So if you are understanding a law, something is covered there, but they want to give us some exception, so it is proviso, like opposite of provision. Now, proviso can be used as an interpretation whether or not the words used in a statute are ambiguous. It does not state a general. It is a subjection. Subjection means it's an exception basically. A proviso covers only such subject matter as it is covered in the main provision, and it is limited to that only. It will be linked to that particular section only. Whatever is written in the main para, with regarding to that only, it will be covered in the proviso. The scope of proviso is limited to the matter covered by the main section. Object. It makes an exception, that is removing some special cases from the general and giving them separately. It imposes certain conditions, make a substantive provision and gives an explanation or clarification. Whatever was not covered there, it will be given through an exception, which is called as proviso. It is a provision. Proviso. Okay. So, sir, illustration was an example. Then 20, proviso was your exception. 21 is your explanation. Sir, explanation means extra details given. I think in Companies Act they have not given any explanation. I don't remember right now exactly anywhere where they have given an explanation. Like if you say provided further that, so it may be an proviso. Yeah, explanation is given. Yes, explanation. See, this is explanation. I can't mark. I'm on online right now. This is not a PDF. It's an online PDF. So I can't mark. This is explanation. So whatever was there given in the section, some extra details if they want to give in some simple form. Like we write in other words. In other words, this means that in simple sense. So it says, for the purpose of this section, the term courier means a person or agency which delivers the document, provides a proof for the delivery. So courier was not defined anywhere, neither in the entire Companies Act nor in that particular section. They have given through the way of explanation, like it gives some more details, but again it is linked to the section only. So an explanation does not make any substantive provision. It is used to remove any ambiguity in the main section. It is used to clarify and explain the meaning of the section or a legislative intent. So there it gives more detailed explanation about it. It cannot take away any statutory right given in the Act. Whatever was written there, it is just a detailed explanation of that. It is called as explanation. Then 22. 22 talks about your schedules, like the annexures. Like we have schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So we have schedule 7 also. Schedule 7 is on CSR, schedule 3 is on Companies Act, the format of the accounts. Schedule 2 is your depreciation, right? So they have give schedules. Schedules are the annexures. Okay. So schedule is also a part of the statute. It may contain substantive law which may even go beyond the area covered by a section, like schedule 3 ka format, profit and loss account, cash flow statement, all are given in schedule 3. Always schedule and act must be read together. It is a part of the law only. It is a part of the law only. Now, if There's a conflict between the schedule and the act. Schedule and the act. So which one will win? So the act will win. The statute shall prevail. In case of a conflict between a schedule and any substantive provision, you have to first harmonize it. Okay. If harmonization is not possible, then the statute shall prevail. What shall prevail, guys? Statute shall prevail. Understood? So this is schedule is what? Annexure. It is basically an attachment to the main law. Whatever is there the fight, first try to harmonize. If harmonization is not possible, what will you do? Statute will prevail. Statute will prevail. So read 19, 20, 21, 22 now. Read. Finished? So 22 questions. 23 punctuation. So like comma, full stop, semicolon. At the first instance, code always ignore the punctuation while interpretation. However, you can use it to remove any ambiguity, and it cannot override the main intention of the law. So firstly, court always ignore, it can come in MCQ, court always ignore punctuation, but yeah, it can be used to remove any ambiguity and it cannot override the clear meaning of the enactment. This is called as question number 23, punctuation. Finish, guys. 23 concepts are there, easy chapter, straight away chapter. Okay, 23 question. I hope you have understood. See, for the first time you are studying, so it looks like a little difficult. It's a technical chapter as compared to the other chapter, Companies Act, what we did, and the other laws we did. But this is a chapter which is directly to be studied from here. 23 questions are there. Now let's try solving questions so you'll have little confidence on the chapter. Now, first let's do the easy part, then you will understand. Case 1. Explain the effect of usage of developed by the contemporary opinion. Contemporary opinion means contemporary expositor under the statute with an example. So you write contemporary ka expositor ka answer, that is answer number, you can write there contemporary expositor was answer number 13 as per our new marking. So write there refer 13. Now, and the example. So they have given an example there. So documents issued by the government simultaneously with the notice under section 16 of Securities Act were used as a contemporary exposition of the notification. So 1956 ka the document ka definition was used today also, is used today also. So this is a documents issued by government simultaneously with the notice under section 16 of SEC. It's an example. Okay, we need to remember this. Ignore the case law and everything. Ignore the case law. Okay. Now, next question. There are several provisions under the Companies Act which start with the word notwithstanding and without prejudice. Notwithstanding and without prejudice. Can we write this? Easy it is. Notwithstanding and without prejudice. Notwithstanding means सब कुछ गया बाहर में. Forget that what is written. Follow this. Without prejudice means without effect. That will also follow. This will also follow. So that is written in notwithstanding. Question 6 and 8. 6 and 8. Only this much you write. 6 ka content, 8 ka content. Right there. Refer 6 and 8. This is as per our marking, okay? Refer 6 and 8. Now, explain the principles of grammatical interpretation and logical interpretation of a statute. What are the duties of a court in this regard? So, mark this as important. It is asked twice. This we have to study from here only. Now, the rule of grammatical interpretation and logical interpretation is to conclude the real meaning of law and the intention of law. Like literal construction. This is basically answer number 1 only. Answer number 1, 2, 3, 3. Rule of literal interpretation. Okay. Grammatical interpretation. What is the real meaning of the law and the intention of law. Now, grammatical interpretation concerns exclusively with the verbal expression of the law. Whatever the word says, we follow that. Now, it does not go beyond the letter of the law, whereas logical interpretation says it seeks more satisfactory of the true intention of the legislature. This is the meaning. Sir, grammatical interpretation goes specifically with the verbal expression of the law, and logical interpretation goes with the more satisfactory version of the law. Okay, what is more reasonable to interpret the law? Okay, what is the duty of the court? So, in all the cases, the grammatical interpretation is sole form of allowable. So, grammatical is followed. The court cannot delete or add any letter of the law. However, where the letter of the law is logically defective on case of ambiguity, inconsistency or incompleteness, then what will happen? Then you will follow what? Your logical interpretation. The court is under a duty to travel beyond the letter of law. Like travel means like you go and follow some logical interpretation. So the duty of the court is to administer the law as it stands, rather it is just or unreasonable. So the court will follow what? Always grammatical interpretation. But if it is beyond this, okay, where the letter of law is logically defective on the account of ambiguity, inconsistency or incompleteness, then you can go beyond this grammatical interpretation also. Okay, read this answer again, it is important. So grammatical and logical both are used to interpret a law. Grammatical goes with the verbal expression. Logical goes with the more satisfactory evidence. The next question was duties of the court. Duty court is that they will follow grammatical interpretation always. But if there is something defectiveness is there, ambiguity is there, inconsistency is there, incompleteness is there, Then they go beyond the grammatical interpretation. Read this. Then next question. Oh, what is the effect of proviso? Again, repetitive question. Does it qualify the main provision of the enactment? So proviso was written here only. Question 20. Right there, refer 20. Does it qualify? The answer is no. I mean, does it change? No, it does not. It's an exception to the provision. So it says, normally a proviso is added to a section of an act to accept something or qualify something stated in a particular section. A proviso should not generally be interpreted as a general rule. A proviso to a particular section carves out an exception to the main provision to which has been enacted, okay, and to no other provision. So it is an exception to that particular provision only, okay. Ignore the case law. Now, does an explanation added to a section widen the ambit, means scope? Ambit of a section, that means widened it? No sir, no. So explanation is a part of the main law only. Explanation ka theory is written on question number 21. Right there, refer 21. It should not be constituted to widen the ambit of the section, and underline this. Okay. Now again they have asked what? Illustration and explanation. Next question is what? In what way the following terms considered as internal aid in the interpretation of statute? Illustration and explanation. So explanation is written in 21. Right there, 21. And illustration ka example, the question number is 19, and I have written it important, repetitive question. No. Oh, contemporary was 13. This is 13, okay. This is illustration is 19 and 21. You can see the language and you can see the content also. 2 marks answer, 1 mark answer. Only one line you have to write. That's it. Now, if you read this question, the next case, associate word should be understood in a common sense manner. Explain the statement in the light of rules of interpretation statute. Associated word. Nocetare soci. Common sense word. Nocetare soci. Construction of associated word. Right there, refer 12. Chameleon, it takes the color of the word. Bridge, the gap between rich and poor. Bridge, to construct a bridge. Right there, refer 12. Ignore the answers written here, you write our answers only. Okay, refer 12. Refer 12, okay. Now, so they have given here, if you see the definition, the expression place of public resort would have one meaning when coupled with the expression roads and streets. Place of public resort, that means people can go and enjoy there, okay, on the streets. And place of public resort would have quite meaning when they coupled with the word houses, like the resort, like where you go and enjoy, okay. How will you interpret the definition? The following words are used in means and includes, okay, and give illustration. So very important answer right there, very important answer. Sir, means me is exhaustive. I is what? Inclusive. I is what? Inclusive. Okay. And you will write there refer, means and includes was in exhaustive 18. Refer 18. Right there, refer 18. Very important question. And read the example also. So this is the example. Read this answer. This is very important. Theory is means is what? Exhaustive. Includes is inclusive definition. Okay. So theory you take it from there. You just read the example from here. Now, use of the word preamble and use of foreign descent. This is also important exam question. So preamble I think was written in the start. Number 16. besides preamble, write the number 16. And foreign decisions. Okay. Now, it says foreign decisions of the countries follow the same system of jurisprudence. That means same law it is followed are as ours, and given a law similar to us can be legitimately used for construing our own acts. Like for Companies Act, we go for UK Companies Act because it's the same law, same jurisprudence. Okay, jurisprudence. My English is bad on this, you know that. However, prime importance always given to the language of the Indian statute. Further, where guidance can be obtained from Indian decisions, first you will follow what Indian decisions, and you don't follow foreign. Later on, you will follow foreign in case Indian does not cover. But you will follow that foreign decision only where the law remains the same. So foreign decision ka answer you will study from here only. Use of foreign decision. Important question, repetitive question. Okay. Now, beneficial construction, we have already done that. If you see grammatical interpretation, logical interpretation, same question. What we did, same question it is. Then, what is the difference between interpretation and construction? The difference between interpretation and construction. Now listen. Whatever is given in the law, you follow that. Whenever court is reading a law, whatever the line says, he will just interpret that. It was interpretation of law. Construction means it goes beyond that. Like if the judge or the court is reading a law and that there is some ambiguity, some absurdity is there. So what they will do? They will go and take a reasonable interpretation, and that reasonable interpretation is called as what? Construction. It is called as construction. Now, we can say like this, where the interpretation stops, construction begins. Like literal meaning fails, construction starts. Construction starts. Okay. Interpretation is different from the construction. It is finding out the true sense of any form, and the construction is the drawing of conclusion respecting subjects beyond the direct expression of the text. Now, see, you read from the next line, the third para, where the court adheres to the plain meaning of the language used by the law, it would be called as what? Interpretation of the words. But where the meaning is not plain, the court has decided to whether the wording must cover the situation before the court. This is what is called as construction. So they go beyond the word, it calls construction. However, the two terms, interpretation and construction, overlap each other, and is rather to state where interpretation leaves off and the construction begins. But you will always say first it is interpretation. If it is not possible, then you go for construction. Okay. Now, rule of natural and grammatical meaning, right there, refer answer number 3. Refer 3. Literal meaning, grammatical meaning, like 6 or 5 points we have marked. Same answer you will copy. No. Example also they have given. In a question before the court whether the sale of betel leaves was subject to sales tax. In this matter, the Supreme Court held that the betel leaves could not be given the dictionary technical meaning or botanical meaning, when the ordinary and natural meaning is clear and unambiguous. Being the word of everyday use, it must be understood in the popular sense by which people are conversant, right? Therefore, the sale of betel leaves was liable to sales tax. Like betel leaves, like pure betel leaves. If you go by betel leaves, sir, betel leaves like betel leaves. How can it be taxed? So you don't go by the literal meaning of that. You go with the ordinary meaning because ordinary meaning is there. Okay. Proviso. Proviso ka answer was same. $20. Right there, 20. And give the distinction between proviso, exception and saving clause. Proviso, exception and saving clause. Sir, exception is intent to restrain the enacting law to a particular case. So exception like only for that case. Proviso is used to remove special cases from the act, from that particular section. And saving clause is used to preserve from the destruction of certain rights, remedies. Saving clause like to prevent, to protect something. So put this in a box. So you write theory from point number 20, and then you say exception refers to that particular cases only. Proviso, from that particular section they remove some special cases. Saving clause preserve the rights, remedy, and provides remedies and privileges which are already exist. It is called as saving clause. Okay. Read this answer. Read. Then repeal of the provision is deletion from the provision. Okay, now deletion means that you are deleting it. Repeal means it is there in the act but it is not applicable. It is not applicable. It is called as repeal of the provision. This I think we have discussed in General Clauses Act also. Now it says repeal of is in distinction from deletion. Repeal means complete obliteration, abolition of the provision as if it never existed. Thereby all the incoherent rights and all cause of action related to repeal provision, while the deletion ordinance takes effect from the date of law affecting the said deletion. So like repeal means from the start it will be removed. Deletion means from that particular date it is deleted and never to effect total affecting or wiping of the provision as if never existed. Like repeal means like right from the day one it will be repealed, it is removed. Deletion means it is deleted from today. Like for example, Companies Act 2013. So they have section 194, 95. So in 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 it was there. In 18 it got deleted. So deleted happens in 18. So but 13 to 18 it was applicable. So 18 say it got deleted. Repeal means from start only it will be repealed. Like you peel off the orange, right? So you repeal it, like you removed it completely. It's called repeal. Again, important question. Then the statute should be read as a whole, right there, RTP. Preamble does not override the plain provision of the act. Give suitable examples. So for theory, I think it is 16, right? Preamble, yeah, 16. Refer 16 an example. So you can take any example. Use of the word may in section 5 of Hindu Marriage Act provides that a marriage may be solemnized between two Hindus. Has been considered to be mandatory in the sense that both the parties to the marriage must be Hindus. It was held that marriage between a Christian male and a Hindu female solemnized under Hindu Marriage Act was void. So this is preamble. So here may means what? So may will be read as may only. It can't be made as, sorry, may will be read as shall. It has to be between both the parties now, but both the parties must be Hindus. So you take the theory from question 16 and you take the example. So put the example in a box. So this is example of preamble. So use of the word may in section 5 of Hindu Marriage Act, marriage may be solemnized between two Hindus, has been considered to be mandatory in the sense that both the parties have to be Hindus. Therefore a Christian male and a Hindu female under Hindu Marriage Act was void. Now, next. Company means a company incorporated in a Companies Act or any previous law. Company means exhaustive. Person includes inclusive. Okay. How would you interpret? Again, so here they have given the example and you have to identify. Okay. So it is same question. Whatever we have marked important, very important we have written. Right there, refer 18. Exhaustive and inclusive definition. Inclusive, you can say extensive also, extensive. Refer 18. Okay, so you write the theory there and you say means is what? Exhaustive, and inclusive what? Inclusive definition or extensive definition. Okay. Usage or practice, this question I am giving you as homework. This you will do it on your own. It's direct answer. You have to mug it up, this answer. Okay. You have to rant this answer. Okay. This is a homework question. Now, how would you interpret the word instrument? Now, this is a definition. I'm like negotiable instrument. My instrument is different. Companies Act, my instrument is different. This is a general definition. Instrument means a formal legal document which creates, confirms a right or records a fact. It is a document of any kind such as agreement, deed, contract, a charter on record, drawn up, executed in a technical form. It also means a formal legal document having legal effect, thereby creating a liability or as affording evidence of it. Till here it is Finished. Instrument. And then they have used one definition of Indian Stamp Act. You can use Negotiable Act also, you can use Companies Act also if you want to. Just write instrument. Instrument means a formal legal document which creates, confirms a right or records a fact. It is a formal writing of any kind such as agreement, deed, charter or record drawn up or executed in technical form. It can also create a liability and give or as affording evidence of it. Okay, so this is a definition of instrument. Last. Associate words to be understood in a common sense. Again, nocetare, socky. Chameleon, take the color, bridge the gap. Chameleon. So twice they have asked associated words wala question. Refer 12. Right there, refer 12. Finished? This is refer 12. Done. Finished. Entire chapter over. Little technical chapter, you have to mug it up a lot of answers. I've given examples so that you can easily relate it. I would say 6 to 8 marks weightage chapter. I mean, this is descriptive. 2 or 3 marks you can take it in MCQ. So close to 10 marks you can assume in the actual paper. 10 to 11 marks you can assume. Okay. Let's quickly do May 23 ka questions. So you will get little confidence that whatever we have studied is correct. So question number, I see we have done so many questions from the past paper. Okay. Oh, 3 mark question. Do you know this? Explain the grammatical and logical interpretation, the state, the situation when the courts adopt them while interpreting the statutes in India. Grammatical and logical interpretation. Grammatical and logical interpretation. Same question is there? Same question. Grammatical is like literal. Logical, they go beyond the law, and we have marked this as important also. And one more question, 4D. So 3D and 4D is fixed of interpretation. 4D. Explain in reference to the interpretation of statutes cases where rule of adjus de generis will not apply. Adjus de generis is. Adjus de generis. Species wala. Adjus de generis. Species wala point. Sir, it will not apply. 2 points are there, I think. Yeah. Court has a discretion to apply or not to apply this rule. The rule must be applied with caution before it applies a departure. It implies a departure from the natural meaning of the word. Point number 3. Answer number 10. Adjus de generis. Done. 6 mark question. November 22. Same question. Explain grammatical logical interpretation. Same question in May 23. Oops, I think that is November 22 only. 1 second. I think I opened wrong paper. Oops. Oh, that was November 22. Sorry. My mistake. That was November 22. That was November 22. Okay, November 22 we have done. Let's do May 23 also. So now, same pattern 3D and 4D. 3D. When can the preamble be used as an interpretation of statutes? Preamble wala question. This we have done. 3 mark question. Same 4D. I think 4D only, yeah. Explain the doctrine of contemporanea exposito. Contemporanea exposito. This is there also in the book. Both the questions are there in the book. Preamble, contemporanea exposito. Done. Now if I show you the past paper ka thing, preamble was asked in May 19 also. Okay, it came in May 23 also. Contemporaneous exposito was used as usage or practice answers, and it is the same answer, usage or practice. That is same as contemporaneous exposito only. It is same, usage or practice, same contemporaneous exposito. 3 mark question. So things come guys as same as it is. It comes from the past papers, past question. That's it. Do that very thoroughly. Understood? So from my end, I have given all the chapters. Whatever 4 questions were there, that is given, and the entire interpretation of statutes is done. Revision I have planned around August end or September mid tak I will be uploading on my YouTube channel, Abhishek Bansal channel, 100% English. And Bhargavi from Seshadripuram, she is writing the notes. No, from Jayanagar I think. Yeah, Bhargavi is from Jayanagar. She is writing the notes and she'll be giving me the notes. And I'll be recording it with our notes only. And it will be in 100% English specifically for South people. Okay, I mean Bangalore and Chennai, wherever I go. So you take maximum benefit, and I guess I want a rank or a 70 plus, whichever is earlier. Like the entire balcony gang, Trilok, Kriti, and I forgot a lot of people names. Okay, Shivraj, you need to clear. People from Shadipuram branch, Sahara. I forgot the name. Okay, the entire gang, like the gang and people who used to sit at the balcony also, everybody. Please work so hard that you get a rank or 70 plus, and you have to clear, because if you know the next attempt is a different attempt, altogether different attempt. Changes are there, but yeah, I would advise you that make sure you clear in November 23 only. Appear for both the groups because there's a holiday of audit. Holiday of audit is enough. Two holidays are there. Appear for both the groups if it is practically possible for you guys. All the graduates who are watching me right now, be focused, take a leave, start studying, and follow whatever I have told you in the class. For sure you can get 70 marks. This time highest is I think 71. Someone have got I think 71, I don't know, or 77. One second. So in final people have got marks. In final also people have got very good marks. As at inter also people have got very good marks. If you see, Kesil have got 77 in inter audit, and Priyanshu Pawar have got 71 in inter law. This is inter toppers, okay? Final gets a different sheet. So people, everyone get very good marks provided they study. Whatever I'm telling you, follow that. For sure, you will get very good marks. Okay, and I hope I get to see you at Taj. Okay, bye guys, take care, enjoy, and aim for a rank or 70 plus, which is earlier. And God bless you. Very soon we're gonna meet in Bangalore and CA final. Bye, take care, keep smiling, and all the best.